Don't suppose there's how I can say to make you change your mind. So I'll just tell you to stay safe. Nan won't take kindly to losing her best customer, especially after letting us carry all this stuff all the way to Ash.
And we wouldn't want to anger old Nan.
You mean, you'll buy some off us? I've got some good stuff for yous. You've got everything you need then? Anything else I can make for you? You want us to make you something? Welcome to Goots's Toll. Righto, here you go. How else I can do for you? Finished! I think. You don't want me to make yours out else?
I couldn't have made it this far without you, Torgal.
Each parting brings the hope of reunion. I missed you, Clive.
I missed you too.
If Sid were here today, I reckon he'd be proud of you, Clive.
He'd be proud of us all.
There is still much I would learn of your tale, once this day is done. Until then, all who might come between me and such knowledge shall answer to my spear.
I do not envy them.
You see, Clive, we're not alone. If we are to win the day, we must all play our part. And ours. Ours lies beyond those doors.
We've fought long and hard for this moment. Sid's dream, our dream, is within our grasp.
We need only endure this final trial, and we shall. Together.
You all know what it is that awaits us beyond this gate. And we shall face it together.
Aye.
It seems our hosts would rather we remain. I will stay them.
We will stay them. Go!
Just don't keep us waiting.
Thank you.
Welcome, sons of fire.
No! No! Come back.
What?
Joshua! Joshua! Wake up!
Clive, is that you? This isn't stone here.
Welcome to our darkness. A rift between worlds wherein your kind might reflect.
Show yourself!
Grave and many are the sins of man. And we would have you know them. All of them. As fate has seen fit to deliver you home, consider this our welcoming gift.
It would seem we are trapped.
And the only way out is through Ultima. We find him, and we leave.
If you are to comprehend the full extent of your transgressions, we must go back to the beginning. When the world was still young, we visited upon it a miracle, magic, and in its light did all life flourish. Yet the price for this boon would prove heavy. A a pall descended upon the land, painting the horizon black as night. Though we labored to forestall its spread, in this one endeavor, we stood powerless. And so we fled, that we might endure, that we might discover a means of salvation.
But if it was magic that caused the blight, what of the mother crystals?
I expect he'll tell us soon enough.
Salvation, alas, was not readily to be had. First, we would require a land unvisited by the stain of corruption. An unprecedented journey lay before us, one beyond the limits of our fleshly bodies, and so we cast them off. Thus, stripped to our very spirit, did we find our new paradise. A land as pure as driven snow, Valisthea. There would the true work begin, for the black crept yet behind us. And soon did we arrive at a solution, the illness having spread to every organ. There was but one escape from this fate, to start afresh.
With a new world. The one for which Barnabas labored. A paradise free from the blight where his God awaits. And where, if we only forfeit our wills and abandon everything we hold dear, humanity can join him. So, Ultima would have us follow in the footsteps of the king.
And follow we shall. For now.
To forge a new world would require not only power, but a constitution strong enough to wield it. Acquiring the first would be simple. Untouched by the blight, Valisthea was replete with ether, and we had only to place jewels in her crown to claim it. Acquiring the second, however, demanded creativity. And so I cast forth the seeds of humanity.
You created us.
Is that not what gods do? We sowed the seeds for you, Muthos, all that you might one day blossom. And our future thus secured, we thought to slumber, though that would prove a grave mistake. For it was as we slept that man committed his greatest sin. He awoke. Alone in a world bereft of his God's radiance, he stumbled blindly, desperate for guidance. Finding no light, he sought to kindle his own, and from that single errant impulse was his will born. Having discovered himself at last, man turned his eyes inward and found he desired evermore that which only magic might afford. So wars were waged and brothers slain for custody over that dwindling resource, and the land, she wept tears of black.
He would condemn us for this. Surely he cannot be so blind to his own hypocrisy.
Not blind, just unwilling to admit the truth. Though we're one and the same. Is that
Ifrit, or what's left of him?
Long have our ashes lain cold for want of a spark. Cast your eyes upon them and see what you must become. Valisthea cannot endure a second claim upon her being. The avarice of man drives her ever closer to destruction, but she may yet be saved by you. It is what you were born to do, why we nursed you and fed you, as your own mother should have. And now that you are fully grown, our Muthos, it is time at last for you to serve your purpose.
to right your wrongs? If our sin is wanting to survive, then you are as marked by it as we are. The fault is yours. Our wills were born because you abandoned us. And now, you would have us forfeit them. All for a place in your new paradise.
Do you imagine yourselves worthy of one? Mankind has no place in our world. Is this truly so difficult to comprehend? We only ever require you, Muthos, when the time comes to bid this wretched realm farewell. None shall follow, none shall remain.
What do you mean, none?
This is our world. Once the land's rebirth is complete, humanity will have served its purpose. Why would we continue to suffer that which has caused us so much vexation.
Because the land doesn't belong to you. It belongs to us all! What?
That is where you are mistaken. You own nothing but your precious will.
Brother.
I can't do this alone.
And you don't have to.
I grow weary of your dissent. Now you must learn that this master will not tolerate disobedience.
My friends, my family. We have all suffered, all fought to survive. This world may be flawed. It may be broken. But it's all we have. And if we can't share it, I see only one other choice. You have to go.
You may have created us, Ultima. But it's time we lived on our own terms. This isn't your world anymore. It's ours.
Bow down, offenders, hearts be-stained. Such foul attaint may not be sublimed through gain-standing. Only with heads hung low is penance paid. O wretched mortals incapable even of contrition, in fitting season shall we reap our harvest.
Nice try.
Gifted this chance, and still you would raise your hand against the Lord.
What Not now. The darkness bends. He means to end us.
It wouldn't be the first time. Let's make it his last.
Your fate is inexorable. Surrender the vessel unto the darkness. Surrender it unto us.
Get him!
Kneel before us.
Get him!
At last. At last. For countless generations have we awaited this moment. Your struggles have made you strong, yet your soul remains heavy with sin. Absolution is nigh. Repent, and all shall be forgiven.
Tell me, Clive, how many lives have you saved since taking my name?
Fewer than we have ruined. Wherever we go, we leave a sea of tears in our wake.
These are the wages of your will, son.
What good are our choices when all they ever bring, all they will ever bring, is death?
There's no atoning, Clive. No matter how hard you try.
So why not leave it all behind?
Leave it all behind.
Somebody save me. Won't anybody love me?
I yearn, yet still she is not mine. Have I not given enough?
From will is born desire, and it is this which consumes you, rendering you incomplete.
Do you not see how the world bends and warps under the weight of your hungering hearts? What if it could all just go away? Just go away.
Clive! None of this is real. Wake up. It's time to go home, Clive.
Clive.
That's right. You're my brother.
Brother.
Come. Remember who you are.
Clive.
Once more, lest you forget.
My name is Clive. Clive Rossfield. Look, Ultima.
Even here, the light of the vessel's will cannot be quenched. And the Phoenix, his trespass should not have been possible. Not possible unless he has been with Muthos all along. The mark of the Phoenix, emblazoned upon his heart, made manifest by the power of will alone. The power of creation. Can it be? Are their wills truly so potent?
Are you still talking?
sorry to wake you, but I think it may be time to leave. This place.
And once again does my creation stray from the path laid before it. Steeped in conceit, you fancy yourself a god. You embrace Logos. But we will put an end to this hubris.
What are you talking about?
In the halls of origin does our true power quicken. And there shall you be made complete. Soon, Mythos, soon you will discover how little you know of suffering. And so the crystals are no more. Yet in their silence, a new song rings. Its chorus building, a crescendo as it enters its final movement, stirring those long aslumber to waking. And back to their origin.
Bloody crystal's cracked. So where the hell are they?
Oh, fuck me.
Is that ether?
What in good Grieger's name is going on?
This is wrong.
Are we back?
Clive! Joshua!
Jill! Is everyone all right?
We're fine. What happened?
Too much to explain here. Mate! We're leaving! Now! Everyone, fall back to the ship!
I will be with you anon.
Thank you. tell everyone what happened at Drake's Spine. And I'm going to need Otto's help.
Origin, he called it. But the origin of what?
What is it?
It's the end, is what it is.
Enthroned in sable skies, chaos in walls. From diverse hands a dawn is spun in crimson sin unfurls.
You don't know what you're talking about. The odor's what gives Chance's stew its, depth. And that's what makes it superior to any old lizard livers.
Oh, please. Have you even tried the fried mortress? Taste, smell, texture.
What do you mean I
Is this the
can't have
last of the
another
mother
loaf?
crystals, do you think? Or could there be others buried out there?
There's nowt like a fuck-off crystal hanging over the horizon to sour your ale.
If there's anything special you fancy supping on before you go, I'd be glad to make it for you. As long as it's brown.
You look like you could do with a drink. Don't be a stranger, Sid.
What do I owe the honor? So, will it be? No scratches, all right? And how am I meant to do that then? You can thank me later. Anything else?
Did you know that it was I who convinced His Imperial Highness to join you in Stone here? All right, it may be that he was of a mind to do so already, but it was I who told him where you'd be.
It's not often our entire merry flock returns home to roost at once. I expect I should be wishing you good luck.
There's something about it. I feel like it's calling to me.
Twinside's hundreds of leagues away. That'd mean the crystal is...
massive. Aye.
Back again? What is it that you wish to learn? I have the details here. Very good.
Still alive, I see. Something tells me that eyesore on the horizon is your doing. How'd you manage that?
It's a long story. One that I'd rather only tell once.
Right. All hands on deck, then.
Is this everyone? As I'm sure you've all guessed, the crystal which now commands the eastern skies was summoned by Ultima. He called it Origin. Though the significance of that name is as yet unclear.
What does it matter what it's called? Its emergence tore Twinside asunder and wiped my homeland from the map.
Mention of the Dominion spires can be found in the oldest of Valisthian records. But to the best of my knowledge, none provide any hint as to their true nature. That they would prove the horns of some slumbering demon. Well...
The Dominion's demise was at least quick. Elsewhere, the Republican army cannot hope to contain the chaos engulfing Randalar. Canva is in flames, and the Empire.
Our allies are crying out for answers. I've sent the Cursebreakers to give them what assurances we can, but right now that amounts to fuck all.
They wouldn't be able to stop what the skies have started in any case. People here and across the realm grow sicker with every passing day. Could it be that this new Mother Crystal is like the others? That it draws upon the land's ether? It certainly looked that way from Stone here.
If that were true, it would explain the hastening spread of the Blight since the crystal's appearance. Would it not?
And as the land's ether slowly rises to the surface, it pools, corrupting all who cannot channel its energies. Arche above, Ether floods below, and in the middle, here we languish, hopelessly entrapped.
It's all right. When we faced him at Stone here, Ultima told us his true power quickens in the Halls of Origin. Needless to say, we cannot allow that to continue. If we are to stop him, we will have to find a way into the crystal.
How are we going to manage that then? It's up in the sky. And fast as she is, the Enterprise can't fly.
It's a lot to take in, and I reckon we'd all benefit from some time to clear our heads. The answer will come to us. Don't you worry. Ain't that right, Clive?
Right. That's right.
Well, go on then. Bugger off. Same goes for you, Clive. You won't solve anything like this. Trust me. Go and get some fresh air, eh?
Thank you. Joshua seemed upset. Ultima may have created us, but he doesn't make us who we are. Only we can do that. And if he would have us fight for our survival, so be it. It's what we've been doing all along.
Much like Ultima himself, it would seem. His new world being naught but a means to survive. And so, we must contend to decide which of us shall inherit the land. Should Ultima prevail, it will mean death for us all. Of that, we can be certain. But even should he fail, what world awaits us? A withered, godless place, where our newfound freedom will most like prove a chain in itself.
Well, that may be. But a chain can always be broken. As long as one has the will to break it. It won't be easy. It may take generations. Centuries of suffering. And that is if everyone plays their part. But it will happen. And when it does, it will be on our terms. That is the world that awaits us.
Indeed. And what better world could one wish for?
But first, we have to reach that crystal.
Then it's a good thing I have wings.
You can barely stand, let alone fly. And only the Founder knows what horrors await in those skies. You certain about this?
Am I certain? I am the Phoenix. I will do what I must. This is our fight. Remember?
All right. I yield. But only what you must, yes? I am still your sworn shield.
That you are.
And what of my wings? Lest you forget, you go to stand against a god. I would not have you succumb to fatigue before the fight begins. Ifrit, your brother mentioned that some few of the dominants who had lost their power to you were still able to prime. Is that true?
It is. But their icons no longer submitted to their will.
Then mine will have to be stronger. That you both might save your strength for the battle to come.
You don't have to do this.
If you do, there's a chance you might lose all you have left.
And what have I but regret? My life ended in the Dominion. I fear death no more. Besides, I would have words with Ultima. He has much to answer for.
We are in your debt, Dion.
We can speak of debts when this is over.
He speaks like a man who knows he's not coming back. And has come to terms with that.
That doesn't mean that we have to, does it, Clive?
Time to talk to Jill. I only hope she understands.
Take as much time as you need, brother. Something tells me Ultima will wait.
Say your farewells, and let us be gone.
Still alive, are you? Go on, then. Come again. Or don't. I'm not much bothered either way.
First the skies, then the crystal. What next? The advent of Great Griga herself.
I'm sure we'll be fine. Sid's back, isn't he?
I will not forget this kindness, my lord. I shall go to Eastport, but as soon as the rebuilding work is complete, I promise to return.
Come to wish on a star.
That might not be such a bad idea. This is it, Jill. You know what I have to do. Why I have to do it. There's no turning back now. This is where our journey was leading us. Where it will end, for better or worse.
I could pray to Metia for you. But you'll be all right, won't you, Clive? You always are.
I did promise we'd watch the moon together.
I'll be waiting.
nice time. Better make sure I haven't forgotten anything.
Clive, do you have a moment?
Of course. Always.
I wanted to give you something.
Is this?
I stitched it from the cloth you gave Hortense. The piece she said you liked best. I told her I used to enjoy needlework, but I didn't think she'd remember.
It's beautiful, Jill. You didn't have to.
When I was very little, I recall my mother telling me that young ladies of the court would give knights ribbons from their hair before they went off to war. I still wear mine, so I made you this instead. White is the color of faith. Faith in your friends, your family, your purpose. Unblemished, unfeigned. Just like my faith in you.
Our faith. May it ever steer us true.
And may it ever bring you back to me. I will always, always be here.
Thank you, Jill.
It's not time yet, is it? Somewhere in the back of my mind. I know. Thank you. And so for now... Right.
Something tells me this is no mere adventure story. What is it this time, Torgal?
You alright? About that.
Let's see.
You off then?
Huh. Thank you, Uncle. As for down here... Clive, my boy! Rutherford informs me that we owe you our thanks. Hadn't intended for you to get involved, but such are the times we live in, huh?
I would have done the same for anyone else.
You're far too modest, Clive. You'd make a terrible nobleman. But tell me, is the realm truly in as dire a state as Rutherford suggests?
From what little I saw, you were right to be worried.
I suppose I should have expected the worst. But I was rather hoping the great and good of the realm might have things a little more under control. Alas, it seems that firm leadership is in short supply these days, and without it, the people are bound to lose their way. We must move quickly.
But where do we start?
True, the challenges that face us are many. But in my estimation, there are two key areas to be addressed before any other. The realm's armies and her larders. As you've seen firsthand, it's every man and woman for themselves out there. Certain cities have banded together to try and maintain some semblance of order, yes? But such cases are few and far between. And yet, the only remedy for the chaos that faces us is unity. A unity that transcends even the borders laid down by our ancestors. In short, if Storm does not stand together, she will fall apart.
But how would one even begin to unite the realm?
The armies, my boy. As I told you already, we begin by restoring order among the ranks of those sworn to maintain it. Sadly, I doubt I could convince even the lowliest gaggle of privates to dig a latrine together. But I do know someone the High Commanders have been known to listen to on occasion. Field Marshal Eugen Havel.
I thought he was retired.
He was, until an Akashic army tore through Randalar and killed most of the rank and file. There is no man alive more capable. Literally. And as luck would have it, I've already spoken with him on the matter.
Of course you have.
And he's agreed to help. On one condition. That he first speaks with you personally. Havel has always been a man of frustratingly rigid principle, and he has certain qualms about clasping arms with, well, with an outlaw. I extolled your many virtues as best I could, of course, but the old goat was adamant that he be allowed to appraise you in person. You don't mind, do you, my boy?
Of course not. As long as chaos reigns, we will never build a better world. I'll do whatever it takes. And if the Field Marshal wishes to speak with me in person, then so be it.
That's the spirit.
I'll leave for Randalar at once. Would you send a Stolas?
Of course. Rutherford is already in the Dalmekian capital. I'll have him tell Havel to expect you forthwith.
Excellent. Thank you, Uncle.
No, thank you, Clive. Don't worry, my boy. Rutherford is in Randalar this very moment, singing your praises to all and sundry. They'll adore you.
Welcome back, Sid.
Oh, you're not leaving already, are you?
Clive.
Ta-ra then.
Thank you, Karen.
You could do this too. Go on then. Do us proud.
Trouble with your gear, or crack the crystal? Not a very good one. But then, see that sword of yours stays oiled.
Oh! Oh, what is it?
It's hardly everything.
And I will! I promise! You can count on me. You take care now.
I did it, Sid. I made friends with all the animals in the hideaway. But you know what I'd really like? My own goblin. Or maybe a morble, or a bomb. But only if it was a big one. That or a bander curl, but not a cactuar. They're too prickly.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen our shelves haven't gone bare.
Yes, but how long will it last? Pining for something, boy. What is it? What do you see out there? I never did ask where you got that anklet of yours.
From Sid, that's why. On the day he brought him home.
That long ago?
And you're only thinking to ask this now? Sid saw that the pup had a habit of gnawing on his leg, since you ask. Clap that there iron on him to keep him from doing it.
What was wrong, boy?
I'll take like as not. Must have been hard on the poor whelp losing his loving masters at such a young age. Doubly hard in being a frost wolf, torn away from his icons and all. Sid would always tell him, you want that iron gone, you find what it is you're looking for. I reckon what he were looking for was you.
I'm sorry, Torgal. Sorry for making you wait so long. Let's get that thing off you.
Doesn't sound like he wants it off.
Indeed. You miss Sid as much as the rest of us, don't you? You want me to go with you somewhere?
Quick, aren't you? Glad you've been paying attention.
Not nearly as much as you have, Lady Karen.
Aye, good thing and all. It's not like Gav would have kept him in nuts and rubbed his belly these past 10 summers.
Your kindness is appreciated. You've been a good friend to him.
Only because he doesn't talk back like the rest of you. Go on now.
Where to then, Torgal?
Miss Shirley says your book's made quite an impression on the children. You've inspired them all to become writers themselves.
Is that so?
find some more parchments then.
When you return, would you mind teaching the children another lesson? They did so enjoy your last.
What do you think happened to Miss Middledore? I heard she was kicked out of the university.
Sid, you have to help us.
With what? You didn't take apart another of Mid's contraptions, did you?
No. Well, yes, but that's not what we want to talk to you about.
It's Miss Middledore. She's been acting strange. Very strange. She's barely ever around.
When she is, she acts like we aren't even there. Her head's in a crowd.
In the clouds.
That's what I said. In the clouds.
Well, she does have a lot on her mind. When did you last see her?
Not long ago. Ah, right after she got back from saving you from Stoneir.
Then it's probably just about the Enterprise. It did take quite a battering on the way there and back.
You didn't break it, did you, Sid? You really should be more careful around Miss Middeldore's inventions. Oh, don't listen to her. Even if you did break the Enterprise, you could put it back together, couldn't you?
But who's gonna put Miss Middledore back together? She seems really sad.
Why don't I go and see if I can cheer her up?
You do that? For us? She's in her dungeon.
Don't scare him. It's not a real dungeon.
Thanks for the warning.
Miss Shirley says we're not allowed in the dungeon. But Miss Middledore doesn't mind.
Mid, if you have a...
That's it! I knew it! The answer was right here under my arse all along! If this doesn't steer to the skies, nothing will!
To the skies? You aren't trying to give the Enterprise wings, are you?
What else would I be doing?
The children seem to think you're avoiding them. They're worried about you. Is this really so important that you need to shut yourself away from everyone?
The Enterprise is already the fastest ship in the realm, and that's with the sea beneath her. But what if she weren't bound to the waves? What if she weren't bound to anything at all? It's not fair. The gods get the skies all to themselves, so I'm gonna do something about it. The Fallen had their chance, but they relied too much on magic. And see where that got them? But not me. I've discovered how to do it without. Well, almost. First, I need to make a prototype.
And is that a one-woman job?
Are you volunteering? I'll have you know the Enterprise is my baby. But if a godfather's offering to lend a hand, I'd be happy to take it. First, I'll need oil, and not just some old drippings from Miss Molly's spits in the Tub and Crown. Refined stuff, like they make in Ordil. Then I'll need some bone, or shell. Light, strong, preferably no longer attached to the beast it belongs to.
If it's beast bones you're after, I'm sure the Cursebreakers will know where you might find some.
No, they'll know where you might find some. You're the one who offered to help, remember?
I should speak with one of the Cursebreakers before I set off for Old Hill. See if I can't find this bone while I'm there as well.
They make an oil down at the docks in Aldale that's as slippery as the sea nasties they render it from. With that and the bone I told you about, I shall be able to finish the prototype.
Has Middledore mentioned a new project yet?
Not exactly. She seems preoccupied, but then again, when isn't she?
All this time, my heart has wandered hither and thither in search of the perfect companion. When all along he was here, standing right beside me.
All right, Sid. Come to buy us around, have you?
Only if you earn it. Mid needs a piece of light but durable bone for her next project. You've encountered your share of beasts on your travels across the realm. Any ideas?
Most bones are the same. Whack 'em hard enough and they'll break. If it's durability you're looking for, shell will serve you better. You know what an adamantus is?
I do. And I know to give them a wide berth. Will any old adamantus do?
Well, with shells, the older the harder. There's a rumour of an ancient adamantus down in Karava, near Old Bidza, or what's left of the village anyway. But don't expect to make quick work of the bastard. There's a reason it's lived as long as it has.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Normally I wouldn't recommend going anywhere near an adamantus, let alone one that's had a few centuries to let its temper simmer. They're mean bastards, and they only get meaner with age. Why do you think the village of Old Bidza was abandoned?
Vivian, I read your note, and I'd be happy to help you find the book you're looking for.
Thank you, Clive. But tracking it down will not be easy. Are you sure?
Please. You have always granted me your wisdom and insight whenever I asked. It's only right that I return the favor. Or at least attempt to.
You are too kind. Alas, what I ask of you is rather more trying than delivering the odd lecture. I spoke with Harpocrates to see if he had any inkling as to where another copy might be found, but... But perhaps it is best that you hear the details from him.
If you say so.
Forgive me, Clive, for asking this of you. But this book, it set me on the path to becoming who I am today. Its importance cannot be overstated. What will it be today? Well, Clive?
I am.
Naturally. I shall... Harpocrates knows of the tome I seek. Whether what he has to say makes you happy to have agreed to help me is another matter. Till next you need me.
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer.
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When ether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit Walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris.
How long has it been since the jailers of Balmung abandoned their charges? Without food or water, they won't last long.
Courage, Ifrit. My decision is made. You said it yourself. He must be stopped.
He must.
I await your word.
Ah, Clive. This is it then, brother. Indeed.
You're wrong.
Of course.
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's... not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will, or something akin to it.
His will? How? Where?
In the crypt, beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but... would you join me?
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are. Back to Tabor then. Not to be reunited with Yote this time, but with Father.
All right, Torgal. Where are you taking me? I'm going to need a little bit more than that, boy. Do you have a better hint for me? Unless you've already given me one. Back on the rear deck, you were looking west, toward Rosaria. Why don't we try the rookery? I haven't been to the island in almost 20 years. To Port Isolde, then. Fingers crossed the old mooring is still there.
You're going somewhere, Sid? Can we come? I promise we'll be good.
Sid, did you know that chocobos are far more resilient to the effects of ether than most other beasts?
Ah, Clive, my boy. What a pleasure it is to see you.
Harpocrates, there's something I need to ask you. I've been charged with locating a book called From a Distance.
Then you seek a rare gem indeed. One whose name I had not thought to hear from your lips. You've been talking to Vivian.
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much. I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young professor has tasked you with obtaining a copy, I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not allow it.
The executors?
Coveters of Secrets. A clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history of the enslavement of bearers, a tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become widely known. Or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the thing, or even set eyes on it for that matter.
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why, secrecy is the executor's watchword. They lurk in the shadows, emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people, before disappearing again, leaving nary a trace.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the executors, yes.
But what drives them? Self-interest or ideology?
A fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the executors can be recounted in a single breath. You may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of their leaders. Any answer I give would be pure speculation.
Then my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting? That I'd pluck it from thin air?
Not from thin air, no. From ash. Rumors of the executors are rife among the scholars of Storm, but rather less so across the strait. I have a friend. Well, I had a friend in the village of Garnick, a collector of rare tomes, upon which subject we would oft correspond. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the skies fell dark. And no doubt he too has turned. But though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves, quietly awaiting discovery. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. When I next find myself in Waloed, I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit.
Good morrow to you, my friend. Ah, yes. Indeed. Then go. Having never visited, I cannot tell you exactly where in Garnick my friend's lodgings lie, but he did mention they were some distance from the road. I make no guarantee that you will find what you seek there, only that it is the best and perhaps the only place left to look. Go safely.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen ourselves happen.
Whatever should I write next?
A love story, perhaps? With a happy ending, of course.
Miss Shirley says we're not allowed in the dungeon. But Miss Minidol doesn't mind.
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
Not exactly.
I will not let them be forgotten. Sid, may I have a moment?
Of course.
It is an honor to finally speak with you. My name is Herman. I've been with the Cursebreakers for some time now, and I wish to be deployed to Ash. Any assignment will do.
No. The lands across the Narrow are too dangerous. I will not send good men and women to risk their lives needlessly. Why would you want to go back?
I need to retrieve something. Something important. I was raised in an orphanage. The Badbach Conservatory. Or rather, I was held captive there. It was not a place of nurture. It existed solely to turn bearer children into mindless weapons. We were tortured until we feared no pain. Tormented until our hearts turned to stone. And few ever survived long enough to become tools of the last king.
I can't imagine.
I lost so many. I can't even remember all their names. But they must be remembered. They cannot fade away, faceless and forgotten. The Institute was run with military precision. Every child measured, every name recorded, every death logged with meticulous care. Sid, allow me to travel to Ash and recover the registry so that my brothers and sisters might live on.
You were a good friend, Herman. But the fact remains that Ash is simply too dangerous.
Sid, please. Even should it cost me my life.
Too dangerous for you, Herman. But not for me. I'll go to Bad Bach and find the registry.
You will?
I won't let you risk your life.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can start by telling me where I'll find this orphanage.
Vie de Grace. Hidden in a forest, overlooking the plains.
All right. I'll see what I can find there.
May the mothers guide you. The plains of Vie de Grace have haunted my dreams since I escaped from the orphanage. I can't say I was looking forward to returning.
Do you suppose it's magic keeping the thing afloat?
What else could it be?
So there's a new mother. Fussing over it won't see the hens fed.
One moment you think you've freed the realm from her fate. The next, a darker one rears up to replace it. What awaits us when we finally attain release? True freedom? Or something else entirely?
It's still here. After all these years. Lots more than I remember. And you're a lot bigger. You might have to swim, boy. I wasn't being serious.
You two go on without me. I doubt that boat will hold a third.
If you're sure, we won't be long. Hop in, boy. This place hasn't changed at all. The rookery's right through those trees. Come on. Race you there? I bet I could still beat you. Here we are. This was our hideaway. Wasn't it, Torgal? Coming here helped me to forget who I was. Or wasn't. Prince, shield. Son his mother could love. Had I been any one of those things? Perhaps.
What is it, boy? This is all from the castle. And Phoenix Gate. Did you bring these here? My sparring sword. Well, well. You never stopped looking for me, did you, boy? Thank you, Torgal, for never giving up, for never forgetting. Let's take this with us, shall we? So I don't forget either. That's not the way back to the boat, Torgal. All right. I'm coming. I think I know where we're going. People always talk about the importance of putting the past behind you. But without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. And we certainly couldn't steer our way to a better tomorrow. Come on, Torgal. Let's go home. Sorry for the wait. We're ready. It's oil. After what happened here, it's a miracle there was any left at all.
This should be enough. Good girl. Yeah! Here we are again. Carava. If you were a tortoise, Torgal, where would you hide? Looks like we found him. Get him! Attack! Go for it! This one! Go for it! This one. Attack! Go for it! Tickle! Go to him! This one. Over here! Get him! Fool! I better get these materials to Mid so she can finish her prototype.
Do you see that too?
There are many variations of the Semekian legend, but almost all agree that man was punished for presuming to set foot in the sanctum of the gods. Some describe it as holy, others heavenly, which is to say, of the heavens. Could it be that the baleful mass that now glowers over us is this very sanctum? Have the gods returned to pass judgment upon us once more?
Papa, what keeps it in the air? Why doesn't it fall?
Don't you go tempting fate, girl.
What is it?
Don't ask me.
Oh, please. Just make it stop. Make it stop. I'm scared.
It's all right. I'm here.
Nothing good's gonna come of this, I'm telling you.
Just looking at it's enough to send a shiver down your spine.
Fly, Ambrosia.
Can't be Rutherford, can it?
Turncoats and cowards, the lot of you! If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you shall have!
Allow me.
I don't need your...
Please, Field Marshal. Oblige him.
This won't take long.
You're right. It won't. Men, finish him.
A little longer than I'd have liked. Field Marshal Havel, I presume. Are either of you injured?
No, my lord. You arrived just as our escort turned on us.
Fucking traitors. I'd heard reports of soldiers in the outlying regions abandoning the oaths they swore. But I hadn't thought the corruption had reached so close to the heart of the Republic. It's a fucking disgrace. Your interfering old bastard of an uncle tried to warn me, of course. My lord Marquis. Or is Sid the Outlaw more to your liking?
Call me what you want. It doesn't change who I am, or the urgency of the message I bring. My uncle has a plan to right the realm, and he needs your help to see it through.
Before I agree to anything, I'd have you answer one question. What do you stand to gain from all this?
I won't deny that I might benefit from further chaos. But I seek a new beginning for all of us. And while the choices I've made may not always have been the right ones. I know I made them for the right reasons. For so long, so many of us have been told how we could live, how we could die, when it should have been our decision all along. Now we have a chance to put things right. But in order to take it, we must stand together. Even if it be beside those with whom we don't see eye to eye.
Certainly not the words I expected from an outlaw. But perhaps your uncle was right. You are no ordinary outlaw. I'll never hear the end of this. All right. I'll start by ordering my most trusted guard to bring the Dalmekian fringes under control. Next, I'll make contact with my counterparts in the Imperial Army and see if I can't convince them to try and restore order in their own territory.
Thank you, Field Marshal.
But they are not the only ones we will need to convince.
What do you mean?
I don't doubt that I can bully some sense into a few generals, but those they answer to require a different kind of persuasion. And when it comes to honeyed words, well, we will need an envoy. One who can court even the most stubborn of statesmen. You, perhaps?
I'm flattered. But I'm no diplomat either. And I have other problems to attend to. What we need is a skilled arbitrator. And I may know just the person.
Is that so? And would he happen to be an outlaw too?
Of a different kind, perhaps.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. I suppose we'll all have to find a little of the outlaw in ourselves if we're to make it through this. Very well. Send your man to me right away.
I shall.
My Lord Marquis. Your Lord Uncle bade me escort the Field Marshal to his manor in Port Isolde.
And I will see that my associate joins you there.
Very good, my lord.
An envoy. I'm not sure I'm the man to talk anyone round. I can barely convince my brother to take his medicine. No. This is a job for someone with experience. Someone like Quentin. I hope I can convince him at least. Quentin, I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join us?
Where do you need me?
Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. He's currently in Port Isolde. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape.
Any statesmen we speak with are liable to resist our entreaties if they feel that what little power remains to them is at stake. They must be dealt with skillfully. I shall not repeat the errors of my past.
Reckon Master Quinton could argue an egg back up a hen's quim if he set his mind to it.
Nazaire might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
The Dame actually cares about this town, unlike the Duke. He's only interested in picking our pockets to line his own.
Welcome, welcome! I do like a customer who knows what he wants. You've a keen eye.
A fool. Triss.
Who do you think?
I'm nervous. Is it alright to be nervous? I don't care either way, so long as you do as I tell you. Well met, Sid. This is the Initiate. Ember, present yourself.
At your service, Master.
Please, just Sid. There are no masters here. Your life is your own.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Sid. The Sergeant says you'll be evaluating me at my trial.
To become a scout, yes. You are aware of the dangers inherent in that role.
I am. But I swore I'd face them. Just like the man who saved my life.
And who would that be?
Gav. It was him who found me and freed me. No magic, no support, just one man and his nose. Came and sniffed me out. It taught me what one man can do if he puts his mind to it. And I've been training ever since, so that one day I can be someone's saviour, just like Gav was mine.
I'm sure he'd be flattered. You clearly have good intentions, Ember. And it sounds like you're under no illusions. Stick to this path and you'll make a fine Cursebreaker.
So, what? Have I passed?
You haven't even started yet. Now listen. Not far from here is an Imperial lookout, Eastwatch. The guards there record all their sightings in a logbook. You are to find it and bring it here.
And bring it here, right. Anything else?
No. Sneaking into a heavily guarded Imperial outpost and stealing the logbook would be quite sufficient. You'll need to assess the situation, determine a point of entry, create a distraction and effect an escape, all without being discovered and thrown into an Imperial oubliette.
Ember, Gav isn't our best scout because he can do everything. It's essential that you know your limits.
Know my limits, right. I won't let you down.
It shouldn't be as dangerous as I made out. But keep a weather eye on him all the same, would you?
On my way. All right, Ember. Impress me.
Even now, the capital has moved. The Empire keeps the watchtowers overlooking royal meadows and the Sea of Grace manned. But only by a skeleton crew. It's a trial, not a death sentence.
Fly, Ambrosia. Time to fight. These are clean kills. Perhaps young Ember really is ready. Or maybe not. Damn it. Ember, draw your sword!
I can't!
Then run! If you want him, you'll have to go through me. Farewell. Ember, are you... Gone. Of course. Scouts really are a rare breed. Back to Northreach it is, then.
I didn't expect you back so soon. Where is Ember? How did he fare?
I thought I'd find him with you. He must have fled. I followed him to Eastwatch, where I found him being set upon by a wild Avis. He was just standing there. Didn't even draw his sword. I had to step in and take care of things. But by the time I had, he was nowhere to be seen. I assumed he'd set off in your direction, but apparently not.
I'm sorry, Sid. I knew the boy had a nervous streak, but he seemed like...
The right man for the job? I believe this is the logbook you tasked me with retrieving.
Eh? How did you... Don't you tell me you breached the tower while Sid was busy saving your skin.
What? Wasn't that what you asked me to do? To bring the thing back without getting caught?
He has you there, Nazaire. And he did it all on his own.
But Sid, he
did what he thought was best. And now I have to decide whether I agree.
Of course. We'll await your evaluation back at the hideaway. Don't you leave my sight.
Yes, Sergeant.
This won't be an easy decision.
Your Grace, my lord, I trust your journey was not overly onerous.
Cyril, you found a letter from Father?
Yes, I have it here. If you would do us the honor, my lord.
An inheritance.
It would seem the late Archduke penned this missive shortly before his passing.
The day before we left for Phoenix Gate.
What are these plans he spoke of?
His plans for the duchy, Your Grace. Your father entrusted them to my predecessor, the former bearer of the Burning Quill, who entrusted them in turn to me. The complete emancipation of bearers is their stated aim. But your father's dream did not end there. His Grace also spoke of building hospices to care for those stricken by the curse, and the founding of a new university to further the development of non-magical technologies. With the blight spreading ever more widely across the twins, Archduke Elwyn saw this as the only means of securing Rosaria's survival.
He wished to see men and bearers treated as equals. To see centuries of common wisdom overturned. Small wonder he did not think it achievable within his lifetime.
But he thought it achievable nonetheless. Had he not, he would never have written this message. Nor would he have entrusted his vision to his most faithful aides, those who would have stood with you, shielded you from the machinations of the less benevolent personages at court.
It's a pity only they are still with us.
'Tis true that those most loyal to your father were the first to suffer the Duchess's wrath. But one at least remains, and she has come bearing gifts.
What do you mean?
Mayhap it is better that she explain, my lord. After all, the duties entrusted to me by my predecessor extended only to recovering His Grace's will and arranging a meeting with the one who might execute it, or a part of it at least.
And where is this woman?
She awaits you in the archive, Your Grace.
Thank you, Cyril. Shall we then?
Lord Marquis, if you have a moment.
What is it, Cyril?
One of our brethren lately journeyed across the strait in order to pursue a new avenue of inquiry in our ongoing investigation. He sent an owl some while ago, but we have heard naught from him since.
Was he surveying another fallen ruin?
No. The object of his study was a savior cult that has arisen in Ash in recent years. We believe it may have some connection to the Circle of Malleus, an ancient religion that worshipped Ultima as its god. By gaining an understanding of this new faith, we hoped to learn more of the Circle's original beliefs.
And so you sent one of your brothers to Ash, a continent teeming with orcs and Akashic.
Fully cognizant of the risks, yes. I entrusted the mission to one of the most able of our order, the Third Chair, a master of the arts of combat and survival both. Though he has been silent for some days now, I have thus far refrained from sending any others in search of him, lest they be lost in turn. Yet, it seemed only right to inform you of the situation, given your unique experience of the perils of Ash. For as you so earnestly advised me, it would not do to abandon a man to his fate, when he might yet be saved.
It would not. But Ash is a big place. Can you be any more specific?
Perhaps. The last owl I received from him mentioned a village where he had heard the cult were wont to assemble. Mickleburg was its name. It lies in the southern reaches of Waloed. If aught ill befell him, I expect it did so there.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
You are much too kind, my lord. Go then, with my hopes, and may the Firebird's flame ever burn in your heart. When last I heard from him, the Third Chair was bound for Mickleburg. If you mean to seek him out, my lord, I can think of no better place to start.
If this new faith really is an offshoot of the Circle of Malleus, then...
Let's concentrate on finding the Third Chair first, shall we?